So apparently there's a lot of buzz around the Las Vegas Raiders third round pick from the 2025 NFL season. That is going to be Caleb Rogers, an offensive lineman that the Las Vegas Raiders drafted. They brought this guy in to really develop him. And we're getting reports that this guy is looking really, really, really good up to this point. And today we're going to watch Caleb Rogers' tape. This is something that I've kind of wanted to do over the last couple of months. Obviously, watching tape on this channel does get demonetized. It is what it is. Let's look at Rogers' tape. But more than that, the reason why I want to talk about this is because there's a Raiders insider, a guy who covers the Raiders. This is going to be Sports Illustrated's Hondo Carpenter, who had really, really interesting things to say about Caleb Rogers. But it wasn't just him. There's a couple other guys that talked about this. Hondo Carpenter said when the Raiders picked him in 2025, other teams were angry. It's crazy. I heard from two of them who both essentially told me how great of a pick he was. And then Carpenter continued. Caleb Rogers suffered a career setback due to the dysfunction and the collapse of the 2025 Raiders. And despite that, the buzz around the building about this young man is loud. He isn't a pretend tough guy. He is apparently a tough guy. Rogers has a football IQ that is off the charts, Hondo Carpenter continued. One of his teammates laughing told me he listens to offensive line coach Rick Dennison and hangs on every word. Some guys want to be great. He is committed to doing the work to get there. I can tell you that the team's complete dysfunction not occurred. I firmly believe he would have already been the established starter, which is, again, really, really, really interesting. Despite entering only his sophomore campaign, I predict he will start games this year and could even earn the opening start, which is really, really strong words coming from Hondo Carpenter. I know some people don't like Hondo, but at the end of the day, he is in the building. He's observing more with his eyes than even what I get to see, and then obviously more than any of us truly get to see. So for him to have these type of words, for him to talk to some of these players, and for those players to repeat to him kind of what they're seeing, and then, even on top of that, Vincent Bonsignore, who works for the California Post, did not know that was a legit place to work, but since Vincent Bonsignore works there, obviously it is. Vincent Bonsignore talked about Rogers as well after watching him at OTAs, and Bonsignore said at the time he could see Rogers sliding ahead of Jackson Powers-Johnson on the depth chart. Caleb Rogers is somebody that I think is pushing for a starting job, and that might be bad news for somebody by the name of Jackson Powers-Johnson. This was Vincent Bonsignore. Again, covered the Raiders for years. Now I think he covers a couple different teams, but he thinks Caleb Rogers could potentially get ahead of Jackson Powers-Johnson. Another situation that he's dealing with physically, unfortunate for Jackson Powers-Johnson, but we've been talking about this day after day throughout the first 2 years of his career. Can he stay healthy? Can he be out there? Can he be reliable? Can he be consistent? Right now, that's another big if, and Caleb Rogers is taking advantage of that. I would not be surprised if he's the starting guard alongside Spencer Burford when the start of the season begins in September. Last thing before we get into the tape, Lincoln Kennedy also thinks the Raiders have two exciting sophomore offensive linemen. And he says the following: as far as rookie or second-year players, I'm expecting a lot out of Caleb Rogers. I'm expecting him to find a place for Charles Grant. Talking specifically about Klint Kubiak, right? I'm expecting him to find a place for Charles Grant. I think he can play in this league. I just need to see it. And the only way is essentially to get him live reps, right? So, again, Lincoln Kennedy talked about it. But right now, basically, the buzz is around Caleb Rogers. And that's the point of this video. I want to watch some of his tape. And we'll just start right away watching some of the positive things that we saw from Caleb Rogers. Now, keep in mind, these are, the positive plays are going to be all his run snaps mostly. Watching tape when it comes to pass pro is very hard specifically to say, hey, this is a positive play, because truth be told, there's so many double teams that end up happening. So in pass pro, it is kind of hard to find positive plays where it's not a double team. But in run blocking situations, it's very easy to be able to kind of see that. On the other side, a lot of his negative plays that we're going to end up watching are going to end up being his pass pro plays. So just kind of keep that in mind. Video is slightly cherry picked because of that. But I don't think he's terrible as a pass blocker. I also don't think he's elite as a run blocker. I think he's good at pass pro. He's good at run blocking, but I do think his run blocking right now is better than his pass pro. Just kind of keep that in mind. So just to get into this play, so this is 4th and 1. Play is not going to end up working. But Caleb Rogers definitely does his job, right? What he's asked to do is to reach the one technique defensive tackle. In this instance, it's Chris Jones. This is a very, very, very difficult block to make. But here's the thing with this block. This block right here, the way he's able to get in front of Chris Jones, this is something he's going to have to do a lot in this scheme and system. he's going to have to get in front of Chris Jones and other defensive tackles that are aligned in the one technique. And he does it really, really well. Right? It's a great job to be able to reach. And that right there is a winning block by Caleb Rogers. So again, just a phenomenal block. On the other side of this, you guys can look at the center, who's Alex Kappa, also has the same exact block. Right? He has to reach the one technique to his left. And watch him not make this block on that defensive tackle. Look at that. The defense tackle just pushes him straight back. So it's not as easy as you guys might think. A really, really nice block. But we're going to go over a couple more of these blocks. This one here is going to be a inside reach on the 3 techniques. So it's a slightly easier block to keep in mind. It's split zone, so they're reading this up to the linebacker. And he does a pretty good job with this block. Now, DJ Glaze does a really nice job as well. Glaze is going to really wash this guy downwards. But Rogers does a good job keeping his head up. And he makes sure to hit this linebacker. And you can see he keeps his head up. If you watch Caleb Rogers as he makes contact, look at that helmet turn towards this linebacker. So again, that's a great job right there. He, of course, gets off of it. Ashton Jeanty picks up 14 yards. Just a pretty nice job right there. There's another really nice block once again by Caleb Rogers. On this one here, he's going to have a double team block. And he's going to have to climb up to the linebacker. Just straight power-based run concepts, right? To me, this looks like duo. And you're going to see him. Again, him in the center are going to double team the defensive tackle here. The splits look a little wide to me. Might be I might be wrong there, but it does look a little wide to me. Really good job with the double team. But again, the best part of this is not just the double team block. It's the fact that as soon as the linebacker makes his decision, if he steps into the right gap here, Caleb Rogers takes it. If he steps to the left gap, Kappa takes it. But again, linebacker steps to the right gap here. And then look at Caleb Rogers get off of this. Perfect. I mean, it doesn't get better than that right there. To me, that is an elite block right there by Caleb Rogers. Just really, really, really good stuff right there. But again, I'm not saying this guy's an elite run blocker, but I do think he's a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker. Here's another one. Once again, he's lined up at right guard. He's going to have a reach block on number 92. Number 92 is aligned. I don't want to say he's in the one technique, although he kind of is, but number 92 is really aligned to the center, right? Like his body structure is towards the center. And he's trying to not allow the block here from Caleb Rogers to happen. And Rogers does a phenomenal job sticking to it. Ends up flipping the hips, and you're going to pick up about 7 yards on this one. So again, Caleb Rogers, just generally speaking, as a run blocker, does a really good job when it comes to reach blocking. Really nice job being able to double team at the point of attack as well. Does a really nice job being able to double team and then find those linebackers where he has to kind of make those reads. Now, I will say that, some of that stuff he's doing here, he won't necessarily have to do as much in the Klint Kubiak scheme and system. Of course, that first block we looked at, where he got in front of Chris Jones, that is something he'll definitely be able to carry with him. But like some of these double team blocks, and a lot of the positive blocks that I've seen were double team based blocks, the Raiders aren't running that type of scheme this season, right? A lot of their stuff is going to be, zone and getting movement or generating movement to the right or to the left. But let's switch focus and let's talk a little bit about Caleb Rogers in pass pro now. Here he is. He's going to end up losing to the defensive tackle here. I'm not 100% sure who that is, but number 90 here basically blows this play up. This is 100% on Caleb Rogers. Now, here's another thing to kind of keep in mind. The slide is to the right, which means he has help on the inside. So this is something he'll have to kind of develop, where if your help is to the inside, you have to not get beat to the outside, right? It's the one thing you can't get beat on. And on this one here, it's not a terrible pass set. It's not a terrible job getting out of his stance. He just straight gets double hand swatted by the defensive tackle. So you just got to do a better job establishing yourself over the top here. Again, this is a losing rep, not a huge deal, right? He was a rookie this past season, so you expect him to lose some. Here's another one. He's going to just get straight bull rushed. And, I do think Caleb Rogers is fairly strong when he's going forward. You look at plays where he's obviously in a situation where, and you look at Caleb Rogers when he's in a situation where he's double teaming, he generates movement. But in pass pro, sometimes he does get pushed back a little bit. Here's one of those examples. He's going to get straight bull rushed by this defensive tackle. Not 100% sure who number 91 is, but 91 does a phenomenal job with the fork. You see him right there, just straight up lift that arm. I mean, honestly, is a really nice job by this defensive tackle. Watch this. The guy's in the long 3 technique, And then Caleb Rogers is going to throw the right hand out there. And look at him get the left hand underneath Rogers' right arm. And then look at him fork it upwards. You'll see that right there. And then he's just in a losing spot at this point. So it's a really nice bull rush here. But again, just kind of getting into Caleb Rogers. He does struggle sometimes with power in pass pro specifically. And again, this was one of those situations where he's, you're one-on-one. So you got to be able to handle this guy. And he ends up losing. But again, he is a rookie. So, I will say he is a rookie at the end of the day. We'll look at a couple more plays. This time he is going up against Dexter Lawrence, one of the best defense tackles in the NFL. Again, just kind of gets pushed around a little bit. Dexter Lawrence obviously ends up getting the sack. Not a huge deal. This one's just one of those moments where there's nothing you're going to be able to do, right? It's just the guy's better than you. It is what it is. Here's another one. This time he's actually going to be lined up over Brandon Graham, who is technically a defensive end. He's going to end up getting bull rushed. And Graham's going to actually give him a little hezzy move. Gets his hands right into Caleb Rogers, and then Rogers just kind of gets pushed right back into the quarterback. To me, I think for an offensive line, the good offensive linemen, the good interior guys, they're able to bull rush. They're able to stop power. And the guys that aren't as good, they're going to struggle a little bit against power. Now, obviously, Dylan Parham, I believe this Alex Kappa, these guys would struggle as well against power, right? They're two guys that aren't very strong. So if they double team one guy, that's great. You're going to be able to shut that down. As you see here. 2-on-1 situation, you shut it down. It is what it is. But then that means that your other guy has to be able to shut down in a 1-on-1 situation whoever they're going up against, right? The numbers, 4 versus 5 is kind of what you're going to get. So you can get 2-on-1. In this instance, Caleb Rogers is the one, so he has to be able to shut this down. He doesn't. And again, this is just something that he'll have to develop and kind of get better at. You don't have to just get stronger because every guy gets stronger, right? You can work on your technique. You can work on re-leveraging yourself. If you're getting bull rushed and you're in a bad spot, there's ways to essentially, with your hands, bring them around and try to get your hand into the chest plate. There's ways to be able to recover. And I think part of the coaching that the Raiders had was one of the reasons why he maybe wasn't as good at recovering, right? The coaching staff that we had last year on the offensive line was absolutely terrible. So I don't blame Caleb Rogers for some of these losses. But again, some of these are just really, really, really bad. Again, rookie player, it is what it is. Not a huge deal. I am still excited for Caleb Rogers now. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, man. For how much Caleb Rogers kind of getting hyped based off his tape last year. And again, I've watched pretty much every single one of this guy's snaps in detail, right? Like where I go back and I focus just on Caleb Rogers, I don't think he's that good. And I'm just being 100% honest. There is a chance he takes a huge leap and he ends up becoming really good this year. But when you isolate 1-on-1 snaps, for example, Caleb Rogers doesn't win 88% or higher, right? He's losing a lot of those snaps where he's 1-on-1. And, to me, if you're a guard and you're a starting guard, you have to be able to handle yourself 1-on-1 and not just against the average defensive tackles. If he's going 1-on-1 against Chris Jones, you'd expect him to win some of those snaps. Now, obviously, he was a rookie, so just kind of keep that in mind. But again, when Jackson Parrish-Johnson was a rookie, when guys like Tyler Booker last year was a rookie, you saw him dominate. Tyler Booker dominated Jalen Carter probably more than half the snaps he went up against him. Tyler Booker is probably the best guard in the NFL right now. And I'm not saying Caleb Rogers needs to be that guy, but you can see it sometimes when a guy's going to be really good or when a guy might not end up working out. And right now, I am leaning towards Caleb Rogers potentially not working out. Again, that is based off of 1 year, terrible coaching staff. Guys do develop and they do get better. So I hope he ends up becoming good. The buzz that's going around right now in OTAs, keep in mind, a lot of that is without pads on. So I'm going to trust the tape a little bit more than what we're hearing coming out of OTAs. Caleb Rogers is a guy to kind of keep an eye on. And honestly, I did want to talk about one other thing in this video, but the video is already fairly long. So we're going to just end the video right there, man. We're not going to get into the other segment. I'll make a separate video tomorrow talking about it. Basically, David Carr, Derek Carr had a segment on their podcast. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I hope you guys all had a great 4th of July, man. Let me know what you guys think, man. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.